This one's going out to Corey, Professor Anton. And, I don't know whether you see any of my videos or not. I mean, obviously, I'm just an opinionated individual on YouTube, or one out of many. There's no particular reason why you should watch my videos as opposed to anybody else's. So I'm not, I won't be hurt if you don't respond. But I'm rather curious about your recent video, for those of you who don't know, the link for which is below. And I might have got the whole thing from completely the wrong angle, because I'm just recording this video live via the webcam. I'm not doing it via my other camera and then editing it and so on and so forth to make sure my argument is correct and flawless and all that kind of stuff. I'm just talking. Okay. Firstly, yeah, it's great that you're attacking fundamentalist values. I think doing that is a good thing. But I'm curious about the vehicle that you're using to do it. Yeah, to turn around to someone and say, well, what if there isn't life after death? That's one thing. But the hypothetical example that you provided was saying that, Jesus Christ comes back and saying, sorry, there's a technical glitch, it's only me who can come back from the dead, and the rest of you basically can't. Would that affect someone's belief? Undoubtedly, there is a very small proportion of any religious community that cares more for the afterlife than they do about the here and now. But with the example of Christianity, I don't think that most of the ideas in it rest upon whether there is a life after death. I think that much of it rests upon life before death, and what one does and the way one changes and grows as an individual, taking on board various ideas that most human beings struggle to accommodate into their own mentality, such as forgiveness. We all want to blame someone else or something else. I mean, this is part of human nature. We find it very hard to take responsibility for everything, and if someone has wronged us, to be able to forgive them. And the resentment which can exist in somebody when there is no forgiveness can bubble up to the point whereby it causes all kinds of unpleasantness. So the purpose, so it seems, or a purpose, so it seems, of being religious, or in this particular example that you have provided Christian, would be to deal with that issue of lack of forgiveness and see whether an improvement of the character of the individual before death can occur. I think I put a comment on your video to suggest that the concept of life after death is allegorical within Christianity, and it refers to the death of the transformation when one goes into the new life of a religious life, and therefore enters into, in inverted commas, heaven, namely the kingdom of God, namely Christian society, or what you're supposed to be once you've reached a certain level. Unless I'm very mistaken, it was about, I don't know, 70, 80, 100 years ago, somewhere in America, there was a group which believed they were practicing first century Christianity because they had almost a psychodynamic approach to the mind, and said that you can have any concept of God you like, so long as you believe in it and you allow it to change and grow with you. It's not necessarily a singular fixed concept, and everything else is to do with where you stand as an individual, where your emotions are, where your blaming is, and how tolerant you are of other people, and how you can change that to become better. Which opens up more questions as to what it means to be a person of faith within early Christianity, not the superficial, literalistic, rather right-wing political Christianity which has emerged in certain forms of American popular media. I mean, the whole question of religion is a question. There are no solid answers, and there are people who look for these solid answers or believe in a literal life after death or a literal heaven, or a a literal, complete forgiveness of sins the moment they receive their baptism. But are these the majority, or are these people who just got more questions to ask? I think that when people discuss or explain their religion, they themselves don't fully understand the meanings of the words they're using. They don't fully understand what they're talking about. Or they do understand what they're talking about, but they are too inarticulate to express it. So as far as getting yourself headfirst into a good quality, in-depth intellectual debate with someone who is of faith, and to try and get a good handle on where they're coming from, probably won't ever happen. Because you're not necessarily dealing with someone who is necessarily that astute. It's difficult. I mean, the whole question of religion is difficult. What is death acceptance? Why is it that you believe in it? Why is it that you believe it is quite so important? These are questions I'm asking you. And are there both positive and negative results to death acceptance? I mean, the negative result of death acceptance could be what some of the fundamentalist literalists say is in the mentality of the atheist. Maybe some of the more positive ones are valuing each and every single day because it's a gift. Maybe that is what you're talking about. But on the other hand, that's also what a religious person is talking about. So a question would be, Corey, have you yourself thought yourself under the table and into a religion?